So if you are not an elite swimmer and you are 13 years old under this new policy and you're a biological girl, you could definitely be swimming against biological boys who will not have had any testosterone like suppression, no puberty suppression, nothing. They're going to be allowed to swim against you at 13, 14, 15, just as long as you don't all cross over to elite athletes.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah, I see the problem. And then the problem on the flip side is, in a way, by saying those who are elite, who then have to take the puberty blockers or what have you, it's almost like encouraging them to take the puberty blockers, because if they want to, if the trans kids, the kids who think they might be trans, want to swim at the elite levels, they have to now take some sort of a drug.
Right. You're exactly right. Many of the parents and other coaches feel this way. The language within the policy does state that they don't encourage that to happen. However, again, if you want to participate as a trans athlete and you're an elite swimmer, you're going to have to take these hormone suppressants.
It's really fraught. It's very fraught. And I know, Lisa, one of the things you've been objecting to is there's no doctor involved in this at all.
When we became aware of the policy and the policy changing over time as well, that was certainly one of our questions as parents that are concerned on all points of view on transgender and swimming. But it's a much richer issue than simply putting the policy out there. Yes, we have yet to see medical review. Is this the right thing to mandate hormone therapies? At what age is that appropriate? How do we accommodate for that? How is this gender inclusive task force going to monitor therapies? We as parents do not have any of those answers to those questions. And in fact, we've been trying to find some spaces to ask these questions, have them answered by professionals. We're trying to look at this comprehensively. We don't want to have just one perspective. We are all families that care, but we have not been able to have this platform to sit down together and really look at the issue.
I mean, that's one of the things that jumped out at me in reading the background on your stories is you live in Seattle. It's not exactly Texas. It's not a conservative bastion. And I would imagine most of the coaches and the parents are pretty progressive and open-minded to, how to find a way forward on this. But it seems to me they're treating you like you just don't get a voice unless you automatically subscribe to the most progressive thing possible. And any objections on behalf of cisgendered or biological girls will be treated as bigoted, will be treated as you're somehow anti-trans, as opposed to these are complex issues and they require thoughtful debate and discussion. What do you think, Lisa?
I think they absolutely command thoughtful debate and discussion. I have yet to meet one family that is exactly the same as another. We present with different needs. We have children that are unique, and to be shut out from the discussion is a red flag. I'm for every child. I'm for every family. That is a part of my life principle. And when I see families knocking on my door, which is why I'm here, they said, Lisa, are you aware of what's going on? And I used to coach in the league. I have multiple children myself. And they said, did you hear about this policy? They asked me that. No, I haven't. And then, as Ken mentioned, some of this was going on months ago during COVID while we were all shut down. And yet the policy to be implemented is going to take all of us. And yet the families where my children they'll dive into this pool literally of families that are required to implement a policy that we do not yet understand.
And what Lisa, do they say, like when they come to the door, what is it they're worried about?
They're afraid of having a face to questions related to transgender. They're afraid that their asking of a question will be put out there publicly, saying that because they're asking a question of concern, for example, they wanted some medical data, they are afraid of being labeled as transphobic.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't seem to me, my producer Kelly put together sort of a mashup of when they finally had this meeting and they allowed some parents to comment, some coaches to comment. But to me, watching it, it didn't really seem like they wanted your input. It seemed like the parents and the coaches got shut down whenever they poked the bear, even mildly. The one that jumped out at me was somebody saying something like, what about the fairness to cisgendered girls? And there was the one guy like, well, they don't need to worry. There's no problem to the cisgender girls. The trans girls will be swimming in a different lane. It's like, well, we're not saying it's like wrestling where there's a biological boy who's going to, hurt. No one's saying that about swimming. It's just about biological advantages. We have a little soundbite, a mashup of what happened so the audience can hear for themselves. Stand by.
No one is asking anyone to be trans or non-binary.
That it's not appropriate to be asking about why a swimmer is swimming in which category.
What if my team doesn't have any transgender swimmers? Kind of like what I was talking about earlier, you probably do. And even if you don't, you're going to swim against a team that does.
Bodies are diverse in multiple ways, obviously. There's always going to be someone faster or stronger or more committed. This is not the NCAA or the Olympics.
Believe it or not, several people have asked us, how will people compete in this? And it's the same that you always do. You get behind the blocks, you get up, and you swim.
The next one was, how we considered an open gender category. And the answer is nope.
Trans girls aren't harming cis girls by competing. They don't work. They're swimming in separate lanes. So if somebody is choosing not to participate, that's the choice that they have.
So somebody asked about how many reports has the GSSSL received from trans athletes so far about experiencing discrimination. And so we have not received any at this time.
Okay, so there's a lot in there, but let's just start with the one comment. There will always be someone faster. This isn't the Olympics. Like, calm down. There's a lot of disadvantages. Somebody's taller than you, and she's a cisgendered girl. Get over it. Stop your whining, is basically what he was saying. I mean, as a coach, Ken, who watches these kids train and helps them, what do you make of that claim?
Oh, yeah, that one really stuck out. Of course, there's always going to be someone faster, stronger. I was taught that as a young swimmer myself. Within a category, though, right? There's always going to be a bigger guy, a faster guy, or a bigger girl, faster girl, but they're completely ignoring the fact that biological boys and biological girls aren't, especially after puberty, don't start with at the same level. It's just science shows that, and so to just sort of off it as, hey, look, there's always going to be someone faster. Get over it. It didn't sit well with a lot of folks, especially biological girls.
Yeah. And the claim that, that I introduced it with, Lisa, of no one's harming anybody. They're going to be in another lane. It's like such a dodge. That's just such a, why wouldn't he just confront the actual issue of our concern is that the biological girls will not have a meaningful chance of winning. It's not about someone's going to hurt me. It's about I will no longer be in a fair competition.
That's correct.
I think that that's a good point. However, I can actually understand the statement made by that gentleman. And I'm thinking a little bit deeper on this. Okay, well, maybe there are people that are faster and bigger and stronger. And I'm saying this as a former swimmer. It's true. But the issue right now is we are not in a place to culturally as a community to say that's how we want to race. We as families haven't been able to say this is what we agree to. Are we competitive swimming, competitive GSSSL? Are we using the WIAA competition rules so that we're trying to find the fastest and having the racing be equitable? Okay, well then let's talk about that. Or are we trying to have more of a rec perspective where it's open to all? I think both of those perspectives are valid. And I think that the people that are using their voices are trying to use their voices because they care. What we're doing, though, is we're dividing Seattle even more when we're already feeling divided. And people are becoming very defensive and trying to say that one way is right, when if you ask and you look at the process, we haven't even sat down with one another to say, this is what we want our league to look like. This is what racing in the GSSSL is like. People are just assuming that we're all on the same page, and we're not yet.
Cryptocurrency may represent the future of money. It's one of the most exciting investment opportunities to come around for some time. But what about the taxes? With an Alto crypto IRA, you can trade crypto like Bitcoin and avoid or defer the taxes. Alto's crypto IRA is the easy way to get crypto into an IRA. You can trade all you want without the tax headache. Create an account in just a few minutes. No setup charges, no account fees. Secure trading 24/7 through Alto's integration with Coinbase. You ready to take your investments to the next level? Diversify like the pros and trade without tax headaches. Open an Alto crypto IRA with as little as $10. Just go to altoira.com/Megyn. That's ALTOIRA.com/MEGYN. Start investing in cryptocurrency today. Go to altoira.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.